Crypto Reality in the Bigfoot Researchers Journal is brought to you by Cannabis.com. Real, reliable, non-addictive pain relief. If you live in chronic pain, Cannabis.com can help. Visit the site today and find out how. We're back. We've got Dave Thundercloud here with us. Dave, what was the first time that you ever saw one of these things? Try to describe your encounter, the situation from start to finish, and then your thoughts on it.
Okay. Well, we were actually called to Virginia. It was a lady, real nice lady. She called us to investigate her property. Now, this lady really has like a lot of action going on her property. Now, from the beginning, I was out there with a group called ECBRO, and that was actually their project. They called me out, and I wanted to go. Because
You talking about Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, went out and he called. He said that he had posted something to anybody want to go, and I really wanted to get the experience in another state because I did in Maryland. I really wanted to, and I heard Virginia was really a hot spot. So went out there. We set up camp. Investigated the woman's property. She's on this. This was this huge. This lady was like near 3 national parks, man. It had to be something running around there. Anyway, we were told that it was eating her bird seeds in the backyard and everything. So what happened was we investigated the area. We did find some unusual structures, and we found actually a bee farm was near there. So that was really cool because it was like, well, maybe they're coming up here trying to get the bird seed and the bee honey, which was great. So we investigated the area in daytime, and then nightfall came. What happened was we looked around the area. It was like this little, I guess like a newly built, it looked like a newly built neighborhood, and there was this house. There was one house I couldn't stop staring at, but it wasn't completely finished yet. There was no lights around it. And I kept thinking to myself, I said, well, if they're coming out of the national forest or whatever that we're around, I wonder if maybe they hide behind that house and they, run over, maybe, do whatever they have to do. So anyway, Daniel and the woman, he was setting up, like he has a lot of nice equipment, so he was setting up equipment on her deck and, so see if we could catch anything. So what I decided to do, I said, well, maybe if I go by myself, maybe we'll get a little, something will happen, some action or something. So I went ahead, I was walking in the woods behind this lady's property, and long story short, I saw, well, actually, let me back up. This is what happened. We were actually on her deck, and we were talking, and we were sitting down, and I felt something looking at me. So to the left, I saw something that looked like these huge big eyes, but I said, oh, it's nothing. I just thought it was maybe one of the farmer's house, and maybe he had like some type of light or security lights around his property, because the lights, it looked like it was going from a blue to a red, which I said, oh, that's just, a farmer. So I went back to talking, but I just kept, I said, wait a second, and then I noticed, I said, wait a second, those lights are blinking. So I said, a car is not sitting on top of a farmer's roof. There's no headlights blinking or anything like that. So I went off the porch. I got, I think I took like a little flashlight. I took my cell phone. And once again, I still didn't have a lot of equipment and still don't, but at the time I really didn't have anything. But I went in and I looked, and as I started walking, those lights, what looked like the farmer's lights, came close. So, and they came closer and closer. So what I did, I looked, and I just kept staring. I said, wait a second. The eyes are going from red to blue. But now what I think it was, I think the Squatch's eyes were reflecting off the lady's lights that she had in her backyard, because I was thinking, I said, well, are they self-illuminating? Is it, is this
No.
weird?
That's a good assertion. That's a good assertion. Your angle changed, and then the color changed.
Right. Yeah, and it kept going, and then I stared, and it was staring back. So what I did, I went live, and I think I may have told you this before, but I went live. I took the cell phone so everybody could see it, and that's when I was like, well, I gotta try to do Facebook Live so everybody can see this. This is gonna be fantastic. So I held the camera. Every time I put the cell phone in front of the eyes, there was nothing, because I was looking through the cell phone at it. You like binoculars. So I would look, and nothing. Take it away, then you can see everything around it. I would put it back. You couldn't see the eyes. Take it away, and then you can see everything. So what happened was, the good thing about it is that something was going on that night, and we were able to document it, because when we went live, a lot of people that examined that video afterwards had said, yeah, we heard, even Daniel said, yeah, we heard a lot of stuff on the right side of you, and all I heard was, I saw the eyes, I saw them blinking, they were looking. Now, I'll tell you, at first, everything was kind of, I was like, what is that? Okay. But when I saw the head tilt to the side, like, and trying to understand, that's when I wanted to, bricks. Because
right.
I was like, this is something that's staring at me, and as much as I'm trying to figure out what she is doing, she is trying to figure out what I'm doing. And when I saw those big eyes blinking and that head tilted, I said, oh my gosh. So
now how tall, how far off the ground were they?
I think, I thought it was a shorty. I thought it was a juvenile. To this day, I still think it's a juvenile. But behind that wood pile, it had to have been six, because when I checked the wood, what looked like a wood pile on top of a tall rock, the next day, that thing had, the rock pile was already like 6. So for it to comfortably look at me, unless it climbed up the rock, maybe it wasn't standing, maybe it climbed up the rock and was looking over the wood stack, then it could have been a shorty, a juvenile. But if it was just standing comfortably, it had to have been over 6 feet.
Well, I mean, you can you judge the size? Can you judge the size of the individual's head?
The head was, and I'm glad you said that. The head was like a child. That's why I think to this day it had to have been a juvenile. It had to be a young one, because the head was not that big. And I'll tell you this now. I've heard, in my mind, thinking, well, it's not Patty because it's not cone shaped. And, anything that's Bigfoot has to be cone shaped, has to be Patty, looking like Patty.
That's not what we haven't documented that. They have very different features.
And I'm glad to hear that, right? And that's what kind of kept me, until I'm getting nervous. I was like, oh, it's round here. That's not a Patty. It's not. Later on, I found out that sometimes they say the head is round, especially if they're juveniles or they're babies, until it develops. Kind of like a human child, where, our mothers, our grandmothers have to shape a child's head, when we're aging, because, some children, unfortunately, they'll have lumps because sometimes the mother hasn't shaped, or the father has not shaping the head right, because you have to rub the head like a crystal ball. You have to rub the child's head to make it nice and round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true in some of the lesser great apes as well. It's about size. When they start to get that apex, and a lot of it, I think, it's mostly meat. It's not bone. It's meat. And it doesn't have to be a male. It can be a female. She just has to be older and big,
Mm-hmm. Yes, older and big. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And the whole thing about the situation that was so good was that we documented it. People heard, and one guy said he saw something, which was fantastic. And also, immediately after that, Daniel had did a tutorial with me on eye shine from Pierre. So actually, after the whole situation, we ran back to the lady's backyard on the deck, and he showed me the deer eye shine. I said, no, this was not like those, which was perfect, because it didn't allow me time to fantasize or whatever I saw,
right.
and create something in my mind. Wasn't there? So that was perfect, because immediately after that, we did the eye shine of deer tutorial, and also this thing didn't have ears either. So that was.
So you got a pretty good look at it in the perimeter of the deck lights. describe the face. What did you see as far as the face was concerned? The features.
As far as the face, let me tell you this thing was hidden so well. These things, I guess they're just smart from even an early age, because he didn't move. He didn't move enough for me to hardly see anything. The only thing I could tell you was the eyes that were blinking. They were huge, and that you could see part of their head, which looked bald, because I think thanks to either the ladies' porch light or the moonlight or whatever, allowed me to see the top of the head. That's how I knew that the head was round. But I couldn't, to be honest with you, I couldn't see the nose or the mouth. But I did see the eyes, and I noticed that it didn't have ears. So I knew off the bat it wasn't a deer, because you can see a deer. Any of us to see a deer in the dark, you see eye shine, and then you'll see the ears on the side poked up. Or if it's a male deer, you see the horns or whatever. It was nothing like that. All it was this round head. You could see a little bit, and it looked to be like grayish in tone. That's probably what I think, and I think that's what helped to conceal it. It was like a darkish gray.
Okay.
So
what about hair?
And like I said, I just stood there. Nope, bald, totally bald.
Wow.
There was no you hear people say there's hair all right here, just totally bald. That's why I'm telling you, I really think this thing was young. I think it was not underdeveloped, because it was developed enough to, stare at me and do all that, and then run out where I couldn't see where it went. So,
well, I mean, there's a lot that we don't understand. I mean, one of the things that stands out with our study more than anything else to both Melanie and I is the variations in the way they look within the group itself. We have a couple of them that look like maybe, you would confuse it and say it's the same one. They look similar, and they have, it looks like their head's on their chest, and there's a point, and there's no neck, and, the trapezius muscles appear to connect very high on the back of the skull, and they have the Sasquatch look. But there are other ones, and I've seen one with my own two eyes that looked like a zombie. It looked like something off of The Walking Dead. It was a young one, and it had a round head. It had very little hair on it. There was a tuft of hair sticking off one side of its bald head. It looked emaciated. You could see the protrusion of all of the dentite. You could see this thing had teeth that were crooked, and it just looked like it was dying. You know what I mean? It looked like it was dying, like it was going to die any second. And in looking at the situation, with the variations that we're seeing, I caught one on film and I put it in one of our movies. Actually, you know what? We have the ability to send a file. So I'm going to send you a message right now, and I'm going to show you this individual right now. And then you tell me if the features or if it was similar in any way, because this guy appears to be bald. As far as I can see, he doesn't look. It just looks like a man, but not. I don't know how else to explain it. It's. I'm going to shoot it to you now. And
I know what you. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's totally. It's like I'll compare it to that old thing they used to joke about in the tabloid, the Bat Boy. Bat Boy was bald head, except for not including the pointy ears. But you remember the old tabloid papers that always would claim, "Oh, Bat Boy, we found Bat Boy in a cave."
All right, take a look. Take a look at that shot.
Just okay.
He's about
Got it.
he's about
Okay.
60 yards from me, and he's about 15 feet back inside the tree line in a hole.
Okay. Look at that. Man.
You see him?
And that just goes to show you, yeah.
But that doesn't appear to be a tip. You see how the diffused light's on him and he looks green, but the reality is he's got gray skin. But he just looks like a person, but with broader features and more robust features.
Yeah.
Can you see his eyes?
And right now.
Yeah, man. Is that something similar, maybe?
He looks sad.
Because that guy right there appears to have, he appears to not have an apex. It's behind the tree, so you can't, or behind the bush, so you can't really tell. But just generally, there's a hairline that's so abrupt on the sides of their faces when they have the apex. The ones that have the apex have a very defined hairline. That one does not appear, he does not appear to have a hairline, right?
So do you think, do you think but is this the one that would look emaciated?
No, this isn't him. That would take me, I have like 50 terabytes of footage and stuff. I have to dig for that. It'd take me a month. But I mean, I could find it, but not now. But that one right there, the way you described the individual that you saw in the moonlight with the deck lights, that individual that I just sent you clearly, to me, fits the same type of description. There's no hair on his face. There's no definable hairline. He just looks like a big, more robust human.
Right, yeah, because he looks like you say, he's big, he's robust, and mine look more like a child. Like, he looked like a child. Like, I mean, he looked like a Bigfoot child, but still, he looked like a child.
Okay, I see.
It was almost, if I had to, put my money on it, it was a child. It wasn't an adult, because he was small, but he was, and he didn't, I think he's a child because he's come out several times. Even when we're not there, he's come out. The ladies reported to us.
Oh, okay.
And we think that he's a juvenile that just loves the area. And the mother, the lady was really great. She sent me audio. She really got good audio of the mother. And she sent me 2 audios. I put them on my Facebook page. And it was one audio of the female. And she said, the female sounds so scary. She sounds aggressive. And I said, no, I don't think that she's not aggressive. Believe it, I was in a long, hard relationship when I was younger, and believe I know the difference between somebody screaming at you and just talking to you.
There you go.
And she said, and I said, go back and re-listen to the audio. And I said, probably what's happening is, now this was after we investigated the property. I said, probably what's happening is that juvenile keeps running out of those woods or into your property, and the mother's telling him to come back. That's probably what's going on, and he won't listen. So I said, basically, you just have a little naughty Bigfoot running around.
Little curious guy.
Yeah, curious.
Whenever there's activity on the deck, he wants to come see.
Right. Now, the mother, we think the mother would come out because the lady had a deck to her room, and I think the deck was like, oh my gosh, that was like 12 or 13 feet. And she said she could hear them slamming. They could slam their hands on the deck or whatever, and they would slam their hands or whatever in the bird feed. So also, that's another thing that I talked to her about, and I was thinking that perhaps the mother would come out, maybe she was making a treat of the bird seed for the juvenile or the kids of the family. And it just so happened the juvenile said, well, heck, Mama, I love this. You can stay in the woods. I'm coming out. And he came out, and sure enough, that's him and I ran into each other one night, and he stared at me, I'm staring at him, and I made sure I wasn't going to lose that opportunity. I wasn't going to run. I got that video as soon as I could.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like,
well, it's awesome to be put in that situation. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then have the awareness and the guts, really, because you don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going on yet. You get down in there, and then all of a sudden you're confronted with something that you go, whoa, and you're actually filming. I've had many situations where I was so stunned at what was going on, the camera never even entered my equation until it was way too late. And Melanie and I are going, what the fuck? We can't even believe it. We're like, dude, what are we here for? And then we're just standing there like with our mouths open, no camera, no nothing,
Well, what's so funny about that? And actually, I learned that I actually have 2 cousins. One cousin was in the military in Carolina. He had a across the way sighting. One walked across his pathway. He was driving a military truck down a dirt path or a dirt road. And he saw one. And then my other cousin actually had something was chasing. And at time when he told us something was chasing the car, because he was young and he was in some near the his girlfriend in the car, whatever. So anyway, that's what he got. He got a big surprise, and him and his girlfriend at the time, they saw this thing drop to all fours, and he burned rubber. He got out of there, and we didn't know what it was because we didn't, know about Bigfoot. We just thought, Bigfoot walked around the woods, and if it did exist,
right,
it just walked big and slow. And
yeah, the Patty film.
The Patty film. So we didn't know what it was, but later on, hearing things and finding out people's, from eyewitness reports and all these things can drop to all fours like it's nothing. And they can haul tail on all fours, or they can haul tail on 2 feet.
Yeah, man.
So I told him, so he said, well, I'll let you know now, man. I'm not cool with this, but if we're ever out there and I see one, I'm getting that video. Life or death. I said, well, yeah, I mean, if we're going out, we might as well. At least, maybe if they can retrieve the evidence, you know what I mean? At least they'll have it. Well, then again, the government will probably take it and nobody will ever know, so we'll die in vain. But you never know. It might be somebody that crosses the camera, digs it up, finds it, and somebody that doesn't believe it, whatever, they steal the camera, just, upload it, not steal it, but, take it or whatever. But anyway, so, yeah, that was it. So I stayed there. She was staring at me. I stared at she, until it took off. I guess it was smart enough to know how to get out of there. And what I think it did, it closed its eyes, so I couldn't see the eye shine anymore, and then that way it could just make a quick escape, and I wouldn't know where it was. But I did start to worry because I was like, well, what if the mother's around? The mother could be right to the right of me, and I wouldn't even know it because I had my sight. And some people said, well, were you scared of what you were looking at? And I said, I don't think so much until I saw it tilt its head, trying to understand. I guess it looked like it was trying to understand me or what I was doing. But I said the most thing that worried me was on the left or the right. That's what worried me. Because I said, well, my dad could be on the left or the right.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of people heard in the video, they said, well, man, we heard tree knocks, we saw things and things like that.
Yeah.
So, that's when it got scary. Yeah.
That's why I always tell people, man, trying to shoot one of these things is a bad idea because it's not the one you're taking a shot at that you got to be concerned about. You know what I mean?
Mark, I'm telling you now, I got a buddy, and I mean, it's a Facebook buddy, and he really, I told him, you're going to get yourself killed. Because he's seen him, he's around him, and he says, he doesn't want to kill one, he wants to put it to sleep. And I told him, good luck with that. There's so many different scenarios to that. You trying to put something to sleep like that and you don't know what's around you? No, that's just it. And it's so many different variables and so many things you got to remember because, yeah, it's okay. You're not trying to kill it. Okay, that's nice. You're a nice guy. But trying to put this thing to sleep, you don't know the body chemistry. You don't know what affects it. He said, I'll just put a whole bunch of sleeping pills out. I said, you put the sleeping pills out, how do you know their body chemistry is like ours? That could be like Tic Tacs to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Put them out, and then you walk over there. Good luck with no arms. But so many different realms. But you have people like that, and this guy, I keep telling him, he really has a game plan. He's like, we just knock him out, tie him to a tree, chain him to a tree. I said, no.
Well, the whole thing is, you get into this and you think things, you know what I mean? And I know you've related some of that, but like nothing can serve you in as well as the experience, right? And so, the main research area that we have, my brother, I was fishing with him and he found a track one day and he was freaked out. I'd already seen a Sasquatch and I knew, at that point, then there's nothing anybody can say, you know what I mean? I mean, I saw it,
Right.
He's never seen one, and always wanted to find a, something, you know what I mean? And here he is, he walks up on this track and it's huge, 18 plus, and coming out of the water, the ground is still moist inside of it. And he is astounded. At that point, my thinking, and I said this to him, was that, well, he goes, "Is this what I think it is?" And I said, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what you think it is." And I was like, I stood there for a second. He's like, what's what?" You know? And I'm like, I guess he could have made it all the way over here. And that was my thinking, that there was this one Bigfoot, and because I saw him, you know what I mean? And it's not, and that's the perspective you're describing. You know, whether they understand what goes on, it's really not in, you won't even get it until you spend a significant amount of time and you realize how many and how social they are with each other, and how close knit the groups are, and how they operate together, and what the way they work when the sun goes down. They work differently in the daytime. They do different stuff. And it's a very different situation in our research areas when we catch them on film in the daytime. You walk back in that place after the sun goes down, and you are not able to stand it for, I don't know, maybe. Crypto Reality in the Bigfoot Researchers Journal is brought to you by Cannabis.com. Real, reliable, non-addictive pain relief. If you live in chronic pain, Cannabis.com can help. Visit the site today and find out how. Maybe 30 minutes or so, and I've had multiple people in there with me, and all of them have come to that conclusion. And what we found is that there's a very big difference between what people think is going on and what really is going on. And in my research areas, what is going on is when the sun goes down, there are roving bands of hominoids that have very little fear of humans in the dark, and they will get right up on you, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you may only see one. But with the audio, we've heard on multiple occasions that there are several, and they're chattering back and forth and whatever they do. I don't know if it's, I think it's mostly gesture, and there's just some kind of vocalization that kind of reinforces the physical gesture that's going on, even though they seem to answer each other. I personally think that not only is it fruitless to try to capture one of these things unless you have a well-trained squad of military people, but it's also, and I think this has happened already. I think people have tried to kill these things, have killed these things, and gone missing. I'm aware of an incident where a guy shot at one off of his porch, and they found him face down in a puddle 100 yards from the tree that he was shooting at the Bigfoot. The Bigfoot was hiding on the tree. They found his rifle snapped in half, 20 feet away, and this guy's neck was broken face down in a puddle because he went back in there trying to get it. I think that is the most dangerous thing to do when you don't understand what's going on, and I can relate, man, and that's the funny part. You wouldn't believe the shit that went through my head in the first. Bro, I had one point where I knew where they were going to be because we'd crunched data, and they were watching a particular area of construction, and they were pounding pilings. And when they pound pilings or pipe, it wasn't pilings, it was pipe. They were setting pipe, but they were setting it vertical. It was a vertical pipe set. So they had a pipe driver, and it was boom, 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 and they were driving this pipe. Well, I heard running off very clear from this ditch that was on the other side of where they were doing this construction, about 50 feet away. And I was just walking down the levee on the right side or driving a piling. On the left side, I hear this thing tearing through the bushes on two legs, and I'm like, whoa. And I started putting two and two together. And we ended up catching an individual observing that area. It was one of the first, pieces of footage that we ever caught in our research area. But what that showed me was that they're very aware of what we're doing. And like in learning that, and in learning that there are groups of these things, that really showed me the naivety of what I was thinking. You know what I mean? Like, because I had the idea that I was at one point, I even brought Melanie was with me and my brother was with me. And I brought my brother to film me jumping off the levee into the group because we knew where they were at. We knew where they were at. And it was like, okay, this is the plan. You know what I mean? And they're looking at me, and Melanie's going, no, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm taking one for the team. We know they're going to be there. They've been there all these times, and I know I can run. And if I run fast enough, I can jump right down in the middle of the bush that they're all hiding in. And I want you guys to stay up on the levee, and I want you to film whatever happens. I don't care. If I end up dying, and this is the kind of stuff I was thinking. You know what I mean? And thankfully, my brother, in one way or another, disagreed with doing it, and of course, Melanie was, disagreeing with the whole thing. But I look at it and it's like, knowing what I know now,
Right.
I know how big of an idiot I was, and it comes from a lack of information, a sheer lack of understanding, and I would never consider anything like that. When you consider the death that these guys could deal you out. And the type of death and the violence and the sheer physical trauma that would be involved, and we've all heard the stories, man.
And you said it. You said it. You don't know. Let me tell you, on a good day, hey, he may just grab your head and break your neck real quick, but you don't know how these things do. We don't know. Even with deer, like they may not be as gracious and just grab your head and break your neck. They may take you by the legs and bang you up against a tree and knock you out.
Yeah. Or, and this is the scariest part for me, maybe, and this is what we think they do. I think the quick death with game is probably, the par for the course. They jump out, they ambush, obviously, right? They ambush, and then they kill it quick. But are we actually on the menu? At some point, is it a situation where you get drugged back and you're still alive and they treat you like they treat a deer and limbs are being pulled off? We don't know because, and this is like, documented in human activity down in South America, in the Congo and in Africa, all these places, man, there are wild human beings that will do things. And I'm talking about right now, not 50 years ago. I'm talking about right now. So what are we talking about when we get into hominoids? Is it that, that they're more peaceful and they don't do that kind of stuff? It technically wouldn't be cannibalism. You know what I mean? And you're looking at this and it's like, when you really start considering everything you've been through, Dave, what is the side of it that, you are really reluctant to push yourself in the field? What is it that's causing you the most distress about the whole situation in your research, boots on the ground?
To be honest with you, it's fun you ask that. That's a good question. Really, it's nothing really stopping me now because we will go. We've been on. We've been called out to do investigations. I haven't, like I said, I haven't hit up against aggression yet. Maybe if one jumps out at me and he beats me up or whatever, maybe. But so far, I haven't. I don't have a limit right now. Be honest with you, so I'm willing to. We can go as far as anybody wants. If they say, hey, we're going to, going in the middle of 540,000 acres and going to stay there all night with no tent, then right now, do it. Now what transpires that night that we're in the wood, that can make, define how I feel the next day. And then I'm like, hey, Mark, look, I'm just going to be watching your videos from now on. I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
But so far, I don't think I have a limit right now. Like I said, as long as it's peaceful research, there's no craziness. When I'm not, not trying to go out and catch one, that would be suicide. Just as long as it's peaceful research, I'm fine.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. And you know, I think a lot of what we've gone through after the first 3 or 4 months was directly related to the way I was trying to get it done quick. And that's really what it was. I was like, okay, man, I know this is happening now. You know what I mean? I got this. This is it. I know the spot. I'm going, and I'm going to try to get this done. And so I went at it aggressively in a completely different way. The reactions were aggressive. So I know for a fact that, you know, and if you get aggressive in this one particular area, they're going to get aggressive. And other areas we have, you don't have to do anything, and they're aggressive. And then,
and I remember listening to you.
yeah, no, it's not even okay, man. You know,
right?
I mean, Melanie and I have had so many different rocks thrown at us. Melanie's been hitting the side of the head and hard, and you know, someone was there with us on camera, like watching the whole thing as it went down. You know, being hit with things, and you know, the aggression of, you know, the just our presence. It's like, damn, you know, and that area has something in common with a lot of other areas. It's being developed, and their areas are constantly being torn down or burnt down or cut down, and trimmed back would be a better way to describe it. They regularly maintain the thick bush in our primary spot. There's thick bush through this entire place that is in danger of being, you know, caught on fire, and it's next to public, you know, recreational areas. They're not doing anything about that. What they're doing is geoengineering, man. They're eco-engineering. They're cutting back these spots that they know they're in and keeping that thick bush farther from the trail that humans use. And I think that they understand, and I mean the government, and I mean local government. I think our FWC people fully understand the lengths that they'll go to, what they'll do, and you know, the wildlife management practices, I think, you know, are a big part of how they control where they're at. But in these areas where, you know, wildlife management really only surrounds the hunting seasons for us, they engage in eco-engineering. They're cutting back the exact bush that we catch them on film, and that's the only place they're doing it. You know, I look at it and it's like, you know, there's a reason for that. And you know, I mean, we hear it, you know, Sasquatch Chronicles and a lot of these shows where these things are attacking people. And I think that it doesn't surprise me. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we're so cautious. And I personally, at this point, would rather engage in long range observation in these areas. Once we figured out where they were, it became absolutely unnecessary for us to jeopardize ourselves to go into the actual spot where we know they're bedding down. We just refused to do it. You know what I mean? I mean, with all that being said, I got a guy coming into town on the 8th, and we're going to engage in something that I've been putting off for 4 years. We're going to do an advanced technology survey 2 nights in a row in the aggressive area. And we're going to record audio, and we're going to go after them and see what happens. But we're going to be using night vision, advanced military-grade technology through the entire process. We also, thankfully, have EPIRB GPS devices, and all we have to do is hit the button, and a chopper will show up. So that's good. But, you know, I look at it, and it's like, you know, where am I afraid? I'm afraid of all of it. And even in the daytime, you know, at times in the daytime, it's like to the degree where they will just let you know that you don't need to be here. Get out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's got a lot to do with the other human activity that's in there. You know, I came to find out recently that, you know, from the videos that we put out, that people have been engaged in activities in our research areas. So now it's not just us. There's other people trying to document them. So they're under pressure. And I think that has something to do with the aggression. Have you witnessed anything like that where, you know, there are other researchers pounding an area and they're more aggressive?
No, that's the good thing. But the problem with that is that because our state is so small that usually if there was a reported sighting, usually some other researchers, but it's not a lot, but they'll go to that area. Not that they will, encounter aggression, because like I said before, ours may not be like that because they've witnessed civilization building up around them.
Yeah.
And we had a sighting of a Squatch that hung out by a biological. It was a research area owned by the military, and they would just hang out there, and they're used to it. I got in trouble. I probably shouldn't say this. I was researching the area by because we have NSA. We're the home of NSA. Like when you see those movies of NSA, you see the building and all that stuff, and they're checking everybody's cell phone and everything. We're near that. Well, there's an old abandoned military base where they had Bigfoot sightings across from NSA. So, you think of something that perhaps has grown up around this, or let's just say a Squatch has grown up around seeing this. They probably say, well, hell, I don't want the trouble. I see all this around me.
Yeah.
I just want to live. So they don't really show, they don't show aggression. Or I haven't seen aggression yet. The one situation was the big red one that I think we had running around here for some time. Now, she wasn't aggressive to my buddy, my other buddy Mark. When I witnessed her, when he had sighted her, she wasn't aggressive to him, but she was aggressive to a fisherman. But then again, that was when her son was a baby, and it was around her neck. Well, son or daughter was wrapped around her neck. But that was only eyewitness report of aggression. And then, of course, as in what we're dealing with, when I came on the scene. Now, before me, obviously we had the Sykesville Monster. I'm only like 35, 40 minutes from Sykesville. Where the Sykesville Monster, that was, you've heard about, everybody's heard about that. That was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
We had that. And then we had the shoot 'em out back. Bang Bang Bigfoot, that was the area I was researching, the Maryland watershed, where they had the black trucks and black copters. But anyway, back to the point. I haven't felt aggression, and I haven't heard any other researchers who have, but I don't think they here, because it's not as known. Like I said before, I had to discover it for myself because I didn't believe it, and I think that a lot of people, especially in our state, if they haven't faced it themselves and they don't know what they're dealing with, either it just goes over their head, they don't pay it any mind, or if they have, like, for example, Upper Maryland, we've had sightings, and the people up there may just think, hey, I got a ghost on my property. Hey, that I hear that stuff in my backyard. It's just the friendly ghost walking around. Perhaps they have that, that thought. So
right.
You know what I'm saying? So we haven't had aggression. Not to say that it won't happen. I could be in the wrong place, wrong time, and one of these suckers could, give me a whooping, or even just, scream at me, yell at me, growl at me, and that could really affect me. But thank goodness, right now I haven't felt it, And I've gotten. I had a situation where when I actually researched online and then found the Annapolis Swamp Tick City area, we actually had something happen our first night there, and I actually took a photographer with me, my buddy Tony, and I said, Tony, come out here, I just want to film some stuff, and at first it kind of started off a joke. I didn't think anything of it. I said, we'll probably just go in this area and we'll just do some filming and have fun. Well, little did I know, like they say, pray for something, you may get it. Well, we went in this area, and this area is thick, it's wild, nobody takes care of it. So we actually had to climb through on our, belly crawl through this pine to get to this one area. We didn't even know. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know the entrances. I didn't know about mapping things out and things like that. Like I said, we went at 8 o'clock at night. So we didn't even map the place out in the daytime, so I didn't know what I was doing. So we went in this area, and we're standing here. Now, mind you, this place is pitch black. Pitch black.
You went on the new moon.
Yeah.
You were there on the new moon, so there was no light.
You may be right. You may be right. It was nothing, man. It was. I mean, this was just crazy. So anyway, we're standing there and we're looking around. He doesn't believe. He totally doesn't believe. So he's on his cell phone, doing something. I think because, like I said, he's a photographer, so there's no telling what he was doing. But I hear this crunch, crunch, crunch. Something's walking up. Crunch is walking. It's continuous walking. I'm like, and I'm looking, and I'm like, no. This is no. This cannot be happening. This is not, because at that time I still didn't know about what you call it. I didn't know all the, what to look for. I was still beginning, and I said, wait a second. There's something coming, and I can't see what it is. It's something walking through those trees. It was calm. And back to your point, the good thing about it, it wasn't aggressive. It wasn't like it was, huffing and puffing. It was just walking.
He was coming to take a look.
Right. So I'm looking down. I can't see anything. Once again, we have these cheap old, Fisher-Price flashlights, and nothing's working. I take the cell phone, a little cell phone flashlight, and then I think, well, now they're getting a little bit better, but, at that time, 2016 and 17, But anyway, so I'm looking. Nothing. You just hear it walking, and it stops. And then I'm like, this is just crazy. So I'm looking, I'm waiting, which I don't know what happened. So Tony says, look, because he didn't know. Or at least I don't know if he knew, because he didn't show me any signs that he knew. But to this day, it was crazy, man. And I couldn't see anything. I could not see anything. But what I did is I went back, like I said, because I was in this area for a long time after that. And I went back the next day, and sure enough, you saw a trail through briar, and walking through a sticker bush briar patch at night in pitch black with no flashlight, just for fun, and it was cold, so it was freezing. So I checked, and then over there we found 3 woven structures where you could actually hide in, and for a while I kept documenting the area, and then they started to degrade. Like they weren't as pretty as they were when I first found them. So after a while, I just stopped because they started to look sickly. But they were beautiful. They were woven. The leaves were lush and green around them. So we set up some food around there. Once I finally obtained my new partner who I have now with me, we set up food, and sometimes we come back and it wouldn't be touched. And sometimes we'd come back and we would set up these little cases, plastic cases of food. The cases would be ripped open. We made sure we would chain them to a tree. Make sure there was no rodents or anything, because rodents not going to be able to snatch it away or anything. A Bigfoot could if they wanted to. But so we did that. We kind of monitored the area on and off, and then we started going out of state, then we started getting investigations called to do that. Fortunately, those incidents, there was no aggression.
Right.
When I assumed allegedly surrounded by 2, but I couldn't see them, but you could hear them. That was at the 295 corridor, and actually, the structures were huge. There were these huge logs. Actually, they remind you of those huge logs, like in Colorado. Like, Colorado Bigfoots, those huge logs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in that area. I found those, which I was really excited when I found those, because it was just huge. It wasn't like a little structure. It was huge. And I was in this area, and I documented the area, and then that's when I heard something in front of me and something in back, and I looked away. It wasn't deer and it wasn't squirrel, but something was walking towards me. It stopped, and then I think it continued to walk towards me, and then it stopped again. And once again, it was nightfall. I didn't know any better, but I guess maybe they were just saying, hey, he's in our structure. Maybe let's spook him a little bit, get him out of there. So I stayed for a while, and I left. But aggression-wise, thank goodness I haven't felt it. But believe me, as soon as I do, I'll let you know.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We got to continue networking and see where all this is leading between, the correlations and all that, man. And I listen, where can people find you in some of these photographs and videos? I mean, go ahead and lay it out so that give them an idea where they can go and find some of what you've been talking about.
Okay. As in on the Facebook.
Whatever, wherever you have the YouTube, the whatever.
Okay. YouTube is Into the Night. IN number 2 NITE to make it real quick and easy. Into the Night. You can find some of the stuff on there. Unfortunately, because I was so busy when we were called to do the investigations, we got so busy and backlogged, so I didn't have time to do as many videos as I wanted. So, but I'm gonna try to start that back up. And then plus, with my new work schedule, it's crazy, so I haven't been able to do as much as I wanted. But hopefully, we'll start the videos back up. Also, then go to my Facebook page, David Thundercloud. Most of that is just strictly structures. If I say anything other than Bigfoot, nobody cares. So I just go ahead and put up the photos of the things that we find, the evidence, anything that I can find, anything Sasquatch related. So David Thundercloud on Facebook. Also, Bigfoot United and Worldwide. That's the Facebook group I started. Please, I tell anybody to get on there, be nice, because I got some tough women that run that group, and they do not play, man. I'm telling you, they will throw you out. So I tell everybody, do not get on there and act crazy. Do not troll. Please do not, because I want to keep everybody in the group, and we try to keep everybody happy. Or the group is for the scientific aspect and the rude, because I didn't, we don't want to discriminate anybody. So we wanted to allow everybody, and it's not just Bigfoot. If anybody has UFO, cryptic, anything cryptic or UFO related, paranormal, anything they can put up there. But it's just, it's a group, just respect. It's just about please respect each other. You can say what you want to say, but you know how it goes, Mark. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So that's it. So Bigfoot United Worldwide, they can get on there and see some stuff. My Facebook page, Into the Night, and if anybody has a situation they want us to come out and investigate, we'll be glad to come out there and investigate. So because that's actually where I had my first sighting was my first real sighting was investigation, and when we actually had a second one. I don't know if you have time for that.
We'll get into that next time. We'll make another phone call.
Great. We'll do that.
Yeah. So okay. So you got the YouTube and all that stuff. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on Crypto Reality, and I want to do this with you. It doesn't have to be, any kind of a show kind of format. I want to stay away from that. I just want it to be two researchers talking, sharing data. And I really hope that you're into that, because you've got some superior research going on. And to my knowledge, you're the only guy that's putting any real solid information out and data, and your team and the people you associate with in the state of Maryland. So we definitely want to stay in touch. And for myself and Melanie and Crypto Reality, I want to thank you for coming on the show, Dave.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I haven't forgot. We're going to try to get out there and check you out too. Definitely want to come to Florida, man. I'd love to come there.
Mel and I can't wait, man. I can't wait to show you what's going on, and hopefully we'll have some action too while you're here.
Okay.
All right, brother. Listen, thanks again for coming on Crypto Reality. You've been listening to another broadcast of Truth People tonight with Dave Thundercloud, researcher from the Maryland area. Crypto Reality and the Bigfoot Researchers Journal is brought to you by Cannabis.com. Real, reliable, non-addictive pain relief. If you live in chronic pain, Cannabis.com can help. Visit the site today and find out how.